Hey Cloud Crusaders, welcome back to Hack the Cloud. Today we're diving into the magical world of Google Cloud networking. Specifically, we're talking about Shared VPC and VPC Peering, or as I like to call it, how to make two networks BFFs without the drama. You see, in the land of GCP, every virtual private cloud, VPC, is like its own little town, separated, living its own life, with its own roads, schools, and of course data packets moving around. But sometimes these VPC towns need to talk, share resources, or even just hang out. Enter our heroes, Shared VPC and VPC Peering. They're like the bridges that bring these VPC towns together. Part 1. Shared VPC, the family plan for networks. First up, Shared VPC. This is the family plan of networking. Imagine you have a big organization with multiple departments, each with their own VPCs, doing their own thing. But they all belong to the same family, right? So instead of paying separate bills, they all share one big network infrastructure. With Shared VPC, one VPC, the host project, acts as the big brother or sister that manages all the networking for the entire family, handling the routing, security, and permissions. The other departments, or service projects, just get access to use that shared network, like borrowing the family car to go to work. Pretty convenient, right? So, instead of creating separate networks for every little team, you share one giant VPC and distribute resources to each team. It's like a family road trip where everyone shares the same minivan but still gets to do their own thing, without the sibling fights, of course. Part 2. VPC Peering, the neighborhood friendship. Now let's talk about VPC Peering. While Shared VPC is like one big family under one roof, VPC Peering is more like two friendly neighbors who decide to share resources across their fences. You know, like borrowing sugar, or that lawnmower that you promise to return but never do. In GCP, VPC peering is used when two independent VPCs need to talk to each other directly. Maybe they're in different projects, or belong to different teams. With peering, you create a direct connection between these VPCs so they can exchange traffic privately, without having to go over the public internet. It's like building a shortcut between two neighborhoods. Instead of driving all the way around the city to visit your neighbor, you just hop over the fence. The data stays secure, and there's no need to pay tolls, aka extra latency. Part 3. When should you use Shared VPC versus VPC Peering? So how do you choose between the family plan, Shared VPC, and the friendly neighbor, VPC Peering? Let's break it down. Shared VPC is ideal for large organizations that want centralized control over the network. It's like saying, okay, everyone in this family gets access to the shared resources, but Big Brother here controls everything. Think enterprises with multiple teams or projects that need to work together, but under strict supervision. With Shared VPC, you get better security, centralized control, and less overhead since all the resources live in the same house. But remember, it's also more complex to set up, just like coordinating a family vacation. VPC peering, on the other hand, is for more independent VPCs that occasionally need to share resources. It's like two neighbors keeping their own homes, but deciding to build a bridge for easier communication. You don't need centralized control here, just a direct connection between the two. Use VPC peering when you've got two or more teams that don't need strict central management, but still want to collaborate. Plus, peering is easier to set up than Shared VPC, but you won't get the same level of control and organization. Part 4. How to set it up without breaking a sweat. Okay, so you've decided which one you need. Now how do you set it up without feeling like you're cracking the Da Vinci Code? For Shared VPC, you need to designate a host project and then attach the service projects. It's like naming one person the official family road trip planner. They control the budget, the car, and who sits where. Just make sure you give the right permissions, or someone might get kicked out of the car halfway. For VPC peering, it's much simpler. You create the peering request on both VPCs, and voila, instant connection. It's like building a bridge, no heavy construction required. Just a handshake and some permissions. Part 5 wrap-up. Who's inviting who to the barbecue? Whether you're going full-on family mode with Shared VPC, or just hanging out with the neighbors via VPC peering, GCP's got you covered. Just remember, with Shared VPC, Big Brother's watching, and with VPC peering, you've got more independence but less oversight. Thanks for joining me on this networking family reunion on Hack the Cloud. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Are you a shared VPC kind of person, or do you prefer a VPC peering arrangement? See you next time, Cloud Adventurers.